Hey everybody, I hope that you can hear me well. I wanted to do a follow-up video well, this will be a pretty short video. I'm going to try not to be very long-winded on this one, but this is kind of a follow-up video to the video that I have displayed here about entry timing. But this is about, some of the symbols that I showed uh, for the examples during those periods of backwardation. Some of those symbols, and their inverse correlations to one another, or the correlations to some when there is a period of backwardation, and how that relates to your trading. Because at the end of the day, you want to be able to enter a trade at a good time. But at the same time, you don't want every symbol that you have in your portfolio to be vulnerable to all the same risks. And I hope that this video would have shown some people that when they saw that backwardation happen, they saw the front month of volatility get higher than the following month in volatility. We went to bigcentral.com and we went through that contango. So I hope that that video showed some people how important that could be, especially if you're a mid or long-term trader. Of course, scalpers and day traders, this is something that you may not even think about or have to worry about. But for those who are in their trades for a decent amount of time, this is something that you want to consider. You don't want all your positions to be vulnerable. At the end of the day, that's all it's about. So let's get right into it. This will be a video on diversification and correlations. And like I said, how you don't want your portfolio to be vulnerable to all of the same risks. So even though every symbol in the same sector does not perform exactly the same, some will get hurt more than others, but whenever there's a spike in broad market volatility, the correlations tend to increase. Don't forget that. Whenever there's a spike in broad market volatility, the correlations tend to increase. So we showed that in that previous video. We saw that, and then at the end, we looked at inversely correlated symbols just for the very reason to show that everything isn't down when that volatility spikes. Everything is not down when that volatility spikes. At the end of the day, yeah, you could benefit from a different direction in your trade. If you're primarily bullish, you can put on a bearish strategy to potentially hedge your risk, or just make some money while your positions are down. You know what I mean? But this is just another way that you can do it with multiple symbols. Okay, so that you're not just caught out there, vulnerable at the end of the day. So Thinkorswim has a correlation. It has correlation as a displayable column. I'm sure you've been looking at the screen, listening to me talk. You've seen it already. Another day I'll go over some of these. I've already went over beta. I think I might have mentioned average true range, but hearing average true range, and you can aggregate this to however many days you want. This is the average range that your symbol moves in a particular day. Usually, I mean, you can put it on. I want to say you can change it to maybe minutes or whatever. Yeah, you can change it to whatever you want. And correlation, of course, is what we're about to go through. IV percentile, I've went over this before. This is, let's say for VXX, 38.76% of the time. VXX's implied volatility is lower than this. So we know what IV percentile is, but let's get into correlation. Like I said, Thinkorswim, this is Thinkorswim desktop app. You can click right here and you can see that you can aggregate. You can change your aggregation from days or whatever you want. I usually keep it on days. I usually have it on 20 days. But sometimes if I'm really going in depth on a trade, I'll put it on a little bit further, 252. And I will, let's see, 252 days ago, that was about September last year. So let's go ahead and use that right quick. Let's make sure we press enter. Get out of here. Okay. And now let's choose a random symbol. Let's choose something that's pretty highly correlated right now, because we're on NDX. NDX is the symbol that I had the correlation to. So that's the NASDAQ 100 index. So let's choose a symbol that's around 70 something, just to choose anything. I could choose GME. No, let's choose TSM. No, let's choose Roku, because I really like Roku. Roku, a year ago, the correlation to The NASDAQ was 71%. It's a decimal form, but it's really just a percentage. So now let's change it to something more recent. 20 where volatility is lower. Oh, let's just go 30. Since I accidentally typed 30. Okay, let's make sure it stayed in there. Yes, it did. Okay. I'll change to 30. Which symbol did we have? Roku. Well, look at that. Uh-oh, past 30 days, there has been a divergence in the correlation between Roku and the NASDAQ. So now, the other thing that we could do is look at Roku and look at the NASDAQ and see which of these two had the larger volatility move. Which of these two had the larger volatility move? Let's put our symbols in order. Let's go to QQQ or the NASDAQ, they're the same thing. Okay, so 8 weeks, 8-week return on QQQ was 4.2, and Roku was negative something. I can't remember what it was. Boom, negative 22.88. Now that's just price action. And that part, if we see this large move in price action, that's just telling me volatility. I'm just not going and looking at the change in volatility. I could look at the change in volatility, but for me to do it all in one place, I understand that heavier downside price action generally means a little bit of a spike or some kind of spike in volatility. Okay, so this means some kind of spike in volatility. Okay, so now, hold on. So now, if we see that Roku is more volatile right now, and it won't always be this volatile, and also QQQ, on the other hand, won't, I mean, it's experiencing some volatility right now, but not to the same degree as, I mean, let's look at 1 week return, 1.49. So that's the most recent, and Roku is minus 4.24. And also as a percentage, let's see percentage change. That's based on 1 day. Let's see if we can change the aggregation so we can get an accurate picture. No, you can't, but anyway. So let's just hypothetically say that this one has had the most recent highest spike in volatility versus QQQ. We can put on a trade that benefits from the volatility coming down in Roku, so that Roku and QQQ, their correlation is similar. Or in other words, because this is negative, you can put on a trade that benefits when these two are more correlated once again. Okay, I know that may sound a little bit confusing, but this is just another way to use a variety of symbols. So in other words, we don't know for sure. If you only looked at the 30 days, you don't know for sure if that negative 0.42, that negative 42% correlation is normal, or if this is just a divergence. So you could end up putting yourself in a bad position thinking that, oh yeah, I got a nice inversely correlated symbol that I can use, but you don't. This may not be an inversely correlated symbol. The way that you can figure that out is by using a longer period of time and going through it this way. And if you go through it this way, you can see, hold on, let's make sure, because I don't think I pushed enter, y'all. Hold on right quick. Hold on real quick. Boom, yeah. That's why I didn't see a change. So you can use something like this, and then you can sort these in order. And now you'll see what's actually inversely correlated text. That's a symbol that I used in the last video. But you can see and look at the 1 week return. You see the difference? The difference between what QQQ was showing. This is what I'm talking about. You have to use those dates to determine whether something is actually inversely correlated or if it's only for a time, and you can put on trades to benefit from that. Use your imagination. I'm telling you, this market is so awesome. It's so much to this. There's so many different ways to skin a cat, but you can skew these trades to make sure that you're benefiting from whatever symbol has the larger outlier volatility move. Skew it, as in you can take a more risky trade, or where the trade is benefiting from the volatility reverting back to its mean, because remember, fluctuations are not like the heavy fluctuations, the heavy volatility. They don't last forever. That's why volatility reverts back to its mean. But I'm telling you, this is something that has helped my trading tremendously. All of my positions are not always down all at once. I'm usually pretty cash heavy anyway, until I see some serious backwardation, like I showed y'all before. Now, granted, the VIX futures September ended some days ago now. So hold on, let's put our symbols in order right quick. VIX futures September ended some days ago. And so that August, hold on, let me get rid of some. Well, I'm gonna leave them up there. But this one was September /VXU21. So now we're on /VXV21. That's October futures. And look at how quick and easy it is for you to see when there is some periods of backwardation. Now it could always continue to increase, but we don't know that for sure. But look at this. This is October, November, and December. October is had a higher increase than November and December, right? So that tells us, because this is the active, this is month one now. Remember, this one ended. This one ended already. So this is our active volatility month. This is literally the same thing that I spoke of in the last video, except you don't have to go to VIX Central to use it, but I know everybody doesn't have Thinkorswim. But this one spiked higher. So because this one spiked higher, current fear is being priced higher than the future fear. And it's because of that we may find ourselves either getting good deals or bad deals. It depends on what side of the market we are on. But you always want to pay attention to these things. There's absolutely nothing like the futures market and backwardation and contango. And I hope that you guys will take it serious. I hope that you guys watch that last video, and I hope that this brings some value to you as well. Please, please don't forget, guys, if you want more content more often, do not forget to share, subscribe, and like. Thank you so much for watching. God bless and happy trading. I hope y'all find some deals. Hopefully this backwardation continues and y'all find some good deals and make some money in this market. God bless y'all. Take care.